Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. My name is Juliette and I'm excited to be your host. Before we get started, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat window and we'll have an open Q&A session at the end. Okay, let's begin with an introduction of today's speakers. Jeff, would you like to start?
Yes, hello everybody. So let's start with sharing my screen first. That would be good. So you should be able to share my screen, to see my screen. So thank you for being here. So my name is Jean-François Piot. I am VP Product Marketing at GSX for more than 10 years now. And I am today with Lisa. Lisa.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'm the Director of Sales for the Americas at GSX and have been with the company for a couple of years now.
Thank you, Lisa. So I guess I let you take the lead on this.
Sure, great. Thank you. The goal of this webinar is to demonstrate how partnering with GSX will provide you with a huge competitive advantage, allowing you to retain your current customers as well as garner net new customers. Jeff has put up the agenda, and the agenda is as follows. We'll briefly review the opportunities as well as the challenges that you're facing every day in this highly competitive Office 365 MSP market. We'll then introduce GSX Solution Set, GSX End User Performance Monitoring that gives you visibility to everything that's outside of your customer's tenant, and GSX Usage Reporting and Security Auditing that allows you to provide your customers detailed reports about everything that's happening inside their tenant. In short, GSX can provide you the tools that no one else can to ensure true end-to-end service delivery for Office 365. So let's start with the obvious, the opportunity. There's explosive growth in this market. More and more companies are moving to the cloud, and Microsoft is obviously leading the pack. Office 365 now has over 135 million active users. That is a massive market that keeps growing every quarter. As we all know, companies are in demand of cloud services. In fact, last week in the Wall Street Journal, we saw that Scott's Miracle-Gro CIO stated that by 2020, which is just around the corner, the $2.6 billion company will have 90% of their IT in the cloud. Office 365 is certainly a great way to get your new customers in the door and using cloud services. And finally, the real opportunity that we see for MSPs lies in enhanced services that companies are looking for around Office 365, which leads to the challenges. I mean, quite honestly, without enhanced services like GSX and other solutions, you're selling a commodity, and competition is growing. And like any other commodity, when you don't have enhanced services, margins tend to erode. So let's dig a little bit deeper into the challenges that I'm sure you're all already facing on a daily basis. Most of you are already providing support for your Office 365 customers. Providing support, that means a lot of different things, but today we're going to focus on the management of the service delivery and performance. And you guys certainly know that 9 out of 10 times when there's a performance issue, it's not because of the cloud itself. Microsoft is pretty stable these days. The problem generally lies somewhere in between the end user and the Microsoft data center. And there are two challenges with this situation. First, end users don't necessarily open a ticket when a performance issue arises. However, they do complain, and they do often to their management, but not necessarily to the service provider. And it means you really don't know if your customers' users are satisfied or not. And sometimes when you find out about it, it's too late. Management already received too many complaints, and they already started to look for another service provider. The other problem is that when there is a performance issue, it's really complex to understand who is responsible. Is it the network, the cloud, the security, hybrid identities, the local ISP? And all that investigation costs money, especially if you open a ticket with Microsoft. And even when you open a ticket with them, if you don't have the proper data to explain your case, the performance issue, when, where, who was impacted, how big the issue was, and for how long, it's really difficult for Microsoft to help you. I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation we have two solutions, End User Performance Monitoring and Office 365 Usage Reporting and Security Auditing. Let's start with our End User Performance Monitoring, which addresses issues outside of your customer's tenant. We understand that once your customers are using cloud services, you as the service provider really lose visibility to the day-to-day performance of the actual service itself. Users may complain that Office 365 is slow, but what does that really mean, and how can you remediate that? And the only way to really know what the service for an end user at an individual location is experienced is to become one. And that's where our little friends that you see on the screen, our little robot users, come into play. The GSX robot user sits at your customer's locations and acts really as an end user. Robot performs real user actions 24/7. It opens and sends emails, performs Skype and Teams calls, uploads and downloads documents to SharePoint and OneDrive, and much more. Robot has its own Windows device and is connecting to the Office 365 cloud using the same ISP, going through the same network path, and potentially experiencing the same latency as an end user at that location. Robot is also collecting and sending you live, accurate, and unbiased data real time for you to have full visibility on the service that is really being delivered to your customers at their individual locations. Also, you're alerted of an issue even if the users don't complain, and usually even before they realize anything's wrong. In addition, you now have data to talk with Microsoft when there is an issue, and you can justify to your client the service really being delivered. We'll show you live data in a few minutes. So GSX Solution is really the only provider of end-user experience data that comes with actionable insight to fix the issue. Because our robot users not only test the cloud services, but they also test on-premise servers in a hybrid deployment, from the hybrid identities to the remaining Exchange, Skype, and SharePoint environments. So you can offer full visibility on the entire environment of your customers. Moreover, the network statistics that they send you enable you to quickly identify where the issue came from. With GSX, you have a way to completely differentiate your business from other MSPs. And for your customer, it's a guarantee that performance management is really being taken care of. It also ensures their business lines that Office 365 services are reliable. So the benefit for you is obvious. You'll save time on mean time to repair, you'll improve the relationship with your client, and you'll stop spending unnecessary money on escalation tickets with Microsoft. And last but not least, you can justify every change you want to bring to the environment of your client to improve their end user experience, which also providing evidence of the service quality you provide to business lines and management. So right before we jump into an actual live demo, you can see here an example of the Office 365 service dashboards that you can offer to your customers. These dashboards enable you to justify the level of service you deliver to your customers, location by location, and to get the statistics you need to discuss with Microsoft or with your customers about past issues. There's really no other tool on the market that enables you to provide this level of critical information for your team and for your customer. Jeff, can you show us a couple of live dashboards?
Yes, of course. So let me share now my Power BI. So I guess you're able to see it now. So I will show you a couple of cases that we went through with different partners for different customers. As Lisa told you, so we are able to provide this data that nobody else can do, but what is more important when having data is also the way you can use it and the way you can monetize it. So this first case is about Exchange. We are looking now at a MSP, a service dashboard for a customer with a free location. There was Paris, Écully, and Persephone, and basically they were providing end-to-end Office 365 service management. So I will explain you quickly what this dashboard is about. Here you can see the availability for a user. So it means how often the action was able to be performed by our robot. Okay, but more important than availability is performance. It means here how often the different actions that our robots are doing how often they were able to be made within decent performance. So basically, we set up a threshold. For example, sending an email must take less than 2 seconds, or searching for documents in your email, or uploading something in SharePoint. So here for Exchange, downloading a document in email, and you have this kind of threshold, so you know how often basically the robot was able to do this action. So you have your service performance dashboard and metric here. We can see that overall it's pretty poor. Only 44% of the time the robot user was happy, meaning certainly your end user, the end user were also unhappy. The network performance show you at the same time how often the network delivered good condition, again, for basically all the actions to be made. And we can see that 82%. So it's not that good, but we can see as well that it's not the only problem that we are facing here, because the performance was only half of that. Here you can see location by warning down. So you see for each location the number of warning and down. So meaning how often you were, how many tickets you get per location. So here we see that Paris is really leading the way, and after that we have these two other locations. Here we see the action latency, so action per action on Exchange, how long it takes to do that or that action. You can see the detail here. And here we have the network issue per day. So for every single day we are checking, was it good condition with the network or not. So we can see that some days we are not monitoring, but we can see here interesting statistics. And after that, you have some critical network statistics that can help you troubleshooting. So basically, what happened here? Here we see that in Paris, basically that customer had a problem. Okay, and if we click on Paris, we see only the statistics from Paris. And automatically we can see here that the witness ping time, basically the network latency, was extremely high at that moment. So this MSP was able to immediately see that out of the 3 locations, 1 was really problematic, and was able to directly know that there was a huge problem with the network. So it was a very good way after to justify some service in order to improve this network from Paris accessing to Office 365 in order to improve the end user experience. So more than just delivering a service level dashboard that you cannot do without a tool, it's also a very good way to justify other actions that you want to take for your clients in order to improve this overall end user experience. A second dashboard, second example is SharePoint. So here, the case here is, again, it was one of our partners that wanted to use the product for one of his customers before migration. So to show him the impact of different route to the cloud, different network change on the future end user experience. So for that, of course, they set up a test, SharePoint Online Environment test, and then they apply different robot users with different route to the cloud or with different conditions to show the customer the real impact of, for example, their bandwidth, if they have a location with a poor bandwidth, or what happens if they decide to go through a proxy, what happens if they decide to have a tenant in Europe for users that are in Asia. So they did all of that, and they were able to show real data to their customer in order to, again, choose with them what will be the best route, what will be the impact of introducing a proxy or not on their service delivery, on their performance, basically. So we see here, for example, that location that had not a very good bandwidth, we see the result in terms of performance. We see that right now on that location, if they deploy SharePoint Online, they will have a very, very poor performance on their end user. So they were able to take action before deploying. So it's all a work, you know, when you work with customers that are migrating to Office 365, it's all a work with them to see with them, to understand their network constraints, their infrastructure constraints, and to decide with them what is the best way. So for that location, basically they had to renegotiate with their ISP, they had an asymmetric bandwidth, and they had to renegotiate that. But on that other location, we saw the impact of the proxy, for example, that is not as huge as the bandwidth, but still you know, provide a certain amount of warning and down. And at the end, using a proxy, I mean, did not enable them to provide a decent quality of services. Here it's only 93% of the time, and of course, when you want to provide this kind of service to your user, you're targeting more 98, 99% of the time. So proxy has an impact. Here it was about DNS, and here it was showing, I mean, the difference between having a tenant right next to you or having a tenant a bit farther. And basically, that here they show that okay, the difference was not that huge. So basically, what happened in this case is that so they use the location, they show all of these statistics. They decided not to use a proxy. Of course, they fixed the location with bandwidth before the deploying, and they were able to use one tenant for all the different locations. Performance was good enough. The third use case is about Skype for Business. It's a bit different. You can see here different type of statistics. Again, here we see the availability. So overall, right now, pretty good. Performance delivered to a user, pretty good too. And of course, this location was a little bit under. So the thing is, if you want to check the Skype voice quality, you need to have, I mean, different statistics that reflect the end user experience. The problem is you have two different ways to do that. You can have the real MOS, basically a different star that people click on after a call, but it's not really reliable because not everybody is always doing that, and most of the people, when you click on rating your call, you click because you're not happy with it. So there is another method that is network MOS, that is basically a prediction of the voice quality based on different infrastructure network parameters. And thanks to that, you are able to predict what will be the voice quality when you deploy Skype for Business Online in different locations. So here is basically what they did. So they were doing that before and during migration, and they were able to see that, yes, at some point, there were really big problems, especially again with the bandwidth, as you can see right here, because the MOS, so the rating of the call, the voice quality of the call, dropped to 0. So basically a good MOS is 4 and above. When you drop to 0, it's basically that you cannot make call at all. So this partner was able to, again, with real statistics, show its customer that he had a very huge problem with bandwidth in one location that was preventing them to deploy Skype for Business Online. So again, that was a very interesting thing to show to his customer. The last one is one again on Exchange that was for a very big customer with multiple locations, but that wanted to have really three main area where they were checking the services. For this particular customer, each action on Exchange was designed as a service, meaning I want to know exactly action per action, how often my users are able to do that with decent performance. So we can see here open mailbox, create meeting, FreeBusy, etc. So they were really, really, really sensitive with the Exchange and user experience action per action. So they decided to define a service performance threshold, action per action, and to be able to see what's going on and to provide this kind of very granular report to their clients. So basically, that MSP was providing overall monitoring on Office 365 and Exchange Online, and their job was to, when they had problems, when they had alerts, when they had bad performance, it was to communicate with the IT department of the client in order to warn them, warning, here in Boston, you have some problem, and to tell them what could be the cause of the problem. And for that, so here we can see Boston, and for that, we define with the partner what we call a messaging triage dashboard. So it's a dashboard that gives you the most probable cause of issue. What we see here is that in Boston, the network is really, really poor, but it's not the only problem they had. As you can see here, ADFS proxy was really performing very, very bad. So they were able to directly, with these statistics, contact the IT department of the client, tell them, okay, we have facts for you. You should investigate the network between Boston and Office 365, and you also should investigate your ADFS server. So again, it's another way to work with a customer. Sometimes you manage everything. Sometimes you want to enable them to take a right decision for the route to the cloud. Sometimes you are monitoring the Office 365 and you provide information to the IT department of the client for them to fix the issue. With all these cases, again, GSX Gizmo is the best tool to provide the right data to do the job. So I'm finished with my use case, and I will go back, I think, here for you, Lisa.
Thanks, Jeff. So let's now take a minute to see what our customers' experiences have been with GSX and end-user performance monitoring solutions. So you can see some statistics here. Last year, we conducted a survey to ask our customers what the main benefits were that they saw using our solution. So the first one that they identified was the mean time to repair, because they can clearly identify if the issue is local or tenant-wide, if it comes from hybrid elements like you just saw with some of the reports that Jeff showed, or if it's the ISP. The time to repair is greatly decreased. At the same time, this ability also reduced the overall number of tickets opened with Microsoft, because once again, you can identify where the issue came from. And finally, thanks to the ability of the robots to alert before end users realized that there was an issue, the number of end user complaints went down by 30%. So besides enabling you to provide a real differentiated offering for your Office 365 support, you'll also improve the end user satisfaction while reducing your support costs. And that's why our solution is, so thanks, Jeff. And that's why our solution has been used by large companies as well as MSPs for actually over 22 years we've been in the market. Ernst & Young, who needs to understand the service quality delivered to literally hundreds of locations around the world, have been working with us for many years and posted this review on the Gartner peer review website. You can also see, in addition to other large MSPs like Atos and IBM, we work with Computacenter, DXC, and Orange Business Services. And because of these successes, we decided that it was time to make our monitoring solution available to MSPs of any size. So that pretty much wraps up our end user performance monitoring portion of the presentation. We're now going to jump into our Office 365 reporting and security audit. So we showed you everything, basically how to monitor and manage outside of the tenant. Now let's take a look at how to manage inside the tenant. While Office 365 does offer various forms of built-in reporting, I'm sure that you've already used, there's no way to get a comprehensive view of your customer's entire environment in one interface, and the reports available have functional limitations that prohibit companies from gaining the specific insights that they need. Our Office 365 usage reporting solution includes literally hundreds of customizable reports across all of the major workloads: Exchange Online, OneDrive, Teams, Skype for Business, SharePoint Online, and Groups. The application is constantly updated with new features and reports, and because it's SaaS-based, these are released and ready to use immediately. The reports actually can be exported as CSVs or PDF files. They can be emailed directly from the app, or what's really nice is they can be scheduled to reduce manual involvement. And you can switch between high-level historical trends and granular data-refined activities to get really a comprehensive understanding of your customer's environment. Our Office 365 security and auditing solution enables you to quickly see all the activities in your customer's environment in a clear, customizable timeline view with a range of audit reports highlighting different areas of vulnerability. I always have a problem saying that word. Specific benefits include the ability to detect and investigate suspicious activities in Office 365, allows you to validate that security policies are working effectively, and when they're not, recommend new policies based on a clear understanding of activities and vulnerabilities. You can also instantly identify external attacks on your environment, such as brute force password attacks or user credential leaks. And you're also able to produce an audit log of activity in Office 365 for a particular user or a particular time frame. So Jeff, if you could go ahead and give us a brief demo of this solution, that'd be great.
Yep, no problem. I was just logging in. So here is a GSX 365 usage. So basically it's that. So you just connect it to the tenant of your customer, and you have your whole dashboard. Basically, it get all the data from the tenant of your various customer. You can have multiple customers on it, different dashboard for that. The tool is really made to provide the right data to the right person, either on direct reports, report that you send, or on self-service platform, and we will see that here. So it's a reporting tool, so it's pretty easy to show. Basically, for example, let's go on tenant report. You can have, of course, the service status, so that's really the status from directly coming from Microsoft with the different calendar. But what's very interesting here is like all the detailed report on the mail traffic, for example, internal versus external. So basically, you have all the reports at the user level. So it's things that is very difficult to do with the adoption pack. With the adoption pack of Microsoft, you have basically service per service. But if you want to have reports of a specific user or any Active Directory fields, it's kind of difficult. Here you have all the reports, and you can really get down user per user. If you take user monitor, I click on that user, for example, and I will have a specific report for that specific user if I want, with all the specific information. So this is for mail. We have, of course, we have for Exchange, we have the inactive user, we have the mailbox size. I mean, we have plenty of different reports that must be interesting for your customer. Basically, you can use that. Let's go on Teams, for example. That's kind of cool, daily activity report. It's mainly used to measure end-user adoption, for sure. It's also, as you can see here, with all the different reports, it's also used to, for example, manage the licensing. So to see the subscription overview, to see what is used, what is not used, license usage over time, license usage per by service. So it's either, there's two ways to use it. You can use that tool to provide this kind of report to your customer. So basically, Mr. Customer, I will check all your license. I will provide you the reporting every week or every month on what is used, what is not used. I will show you where you can optimize your licensing cost, etc. Or you can simply provide that tool to your customer and set up different accounts. So you will say, okay, Mr. Customer, you have your, your purchase department. They want to have a view on the licensing. So you will set up an account for the purchase department of that customer, and they will only see the license, all the licensing part, for example. Maybe a business line want to have, statistics on how Skype is used, how Teams is used, who is doing what. Again, you can set up different accounts like that, and then they just log in to the platform, and they will only see what you have set up for them. So here you have basically nothing to do. You just have to set up the different accounts the way you want and the way your customer wants, and then you provide the tool as a self-service. So it's extremely easy to set up, and it's a very good and value-added service that you can give. Again, why that? Basically, let's go before, for example, to mobile device by iOS. Why that? Basically, on Office 365, if your client wants to have reporting, he needs to have reporting rights. It means that everybody that has reporting rights on Office 365 has reporting rights on everything, on all the tenants. And maybe your customer doesn't want that because he wants the business line just to see the business line information and the license and the purchase, just the purchasing information and etc. And at the moment, there's no way to do that. So that tool enables them to do that or enable you to provide this service. And that's something that is extremely powerful and, again, very easy to use. The second part of that tool, as Lisa explained, is our audit part. Here, it's more a security service that you will give. Basically, it captures everything that has been done on Office 365. Who has login? Who is logging all the time? Who has shared files? Where the files are shared? Do you have abnormal activities? You could do that with the logs if you like to look at text. file for 100 with 100 and 1,000 lines, or you can have a nice dashboard like that sum up everything and provide you with actionable data. So here you can see, for example, all the events per day. You can see the little, you can see all these events, where they happen, who is using what. So we can see that there's 22 events that are kind of weird in the middle of China. Good for the demo. Then, of course, you can check what is the top user. Top user is money, money 365. Okay, let's go. What's going on with this user? Or he's in 3 locations. That's kind of weird. What is he doing exactly? He is a user signing into mailbox a lot of time. Okay, so he's signing it. Let's see in a timeline exactly what happened with this user signing in these things. It seems weird. Let's click on that user to know exactly who these users are. And so here you have the file of the user, but of course, as it's linked with the user report, you can have every single statistics. That is extremely important to understand who is this user, what is he doing, why he is doing that, is it a normal user or not, and that's something, again, if you want to do a security audit for your customer, if they want to have, for example, again, a security 15 days, security audit, I want to make sure, I want to know who is using what, I want to know where the action are taken, I want to know if I have people that are logging in all the time and failing. You can see that here extremely easily. Failed events, we are in the failed events here. We can see our top failed event, that's the MAPI. So basically, for us at GSX, when you see like this kind of huge activities and weird name, it's our robot users that are constantly using Office 365 and logging in. And so for us, it's normal to have that. But here I have failed events. My biggest failure is this one. We can see that it's usually in French, and we can see detailed logon failure, logon failure, logon failure, logon failure. So in a normal case, it would be something really strange, and you would need to investigate what's going on with that user, because it may be an account that is under attack, and you want to know that. Also very important is the sharing and access request. So you want to know where your files are shared. I mean, your clients wants to know that. They want to know if they are shared with outside of their tenant, by who, with who. And again, you can see that in the timeline easily. You can see the event per day. You can see where it happened. And you can provide really extremely, with extremely easy report on all these kind of security threats. You can do that as an assessment, maybe 15 days, or you can do that on a regular activity, or again, you can provide that as a self-service tool. So that's very powerful, and again, it's not something that Office 365 can do in this kind of way. So I guess it's finished for that small demo, and Visa,
sure.
To finish.
Sure, so we'll wrap it up here. So just to kind of highlight some of the things we talked about today, our unique solution, we developed it with Microsoft, used by enterprises, and it is at the core of many large MSPs today. We're also the experts in Office 365 and provide follow-the-sun support, and we allow you to white label our products and give you access to free trials and demo environments. As for pricing, we offer a simple per user, per year pricing model, and we also allow you to aggregate your customer. Sorry, my neighbor's dog is participating in the end of the demo, so you can take advantage of volume discounts. So in conclusion, Jeff, if you want to go to the next slide. We're really the only solution to measure the end user experience of your clients, and data matters when speaking with Microsoft and with your clients. And of course, GSX allows you to differentiate your business. Back to you, Juliette.
Yes, thank you very much, Lisa, for this. We received quite a few questions in the chat. There's several about multi-tenancy. One of these, can I manage multiple customers and locations within one installation?
So, good question. Of course, with as I just said, for usage, it's extremely easy. You will have basically a partner dashboard when you will see all the different tenants. Each time you connect to a tenant, of course, it will be differentiated, and you will have one single interface to have all the data from all your tenants, and then you can easily, again, set up accounts for the different specific people at your customer if they want to have this different report. For the monitoring part, same thing. Basically, you just have to deploy as many robots as you want on all the different tenants you want, and everything is gathered in one single installation of our web UI. And of course, all the data are going to Power BI, and you can again differentiate by robot user your different customers, and it's extremely easy.
Thanks. Do you provide demo for my customer? And there's a bunch of questions about the onboarding process, how we can help.
So of course we do that. I mean, it's for sure we don't let our partner alone. We provide demo to their customer. We can be part of your team if you want. We help you on the first few installation trial. We go with you. We are used to work with partners. I mean, the onboarding is extremely important, mostly for you to get to know the tool, to know what to do, to know what kind of recommendation you can give to your customer. As we are used to that, we basically provide you with that feedback, and it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, and we do that all the time.
Brilliant. How can I get your partner's pricing?
Lisa, that's for you.
Sure. Yep. So I mentioned at the end of the demo that our pricing is per user, per year, easy pricing model. We do allow you to aggregate your customers, so we want you to take advantage of these volume discounts. Feel free to contact us because we do give volume discounts. We typically don't post our list prices publicly, but we'll definitely, if you contact sales@gsx.com, we can work with you to come up with a customizable program depending on your needs.
Great, and we just had a last question. We already have a monitoring tool. Can GSX be integrated to that using API?
So there's different ways to integrate. We are currently developing APIs in order to do this API integration, but right now, the way when you have, because most of the large MSP we are working with, of course, they already have usually a big networking tool. So the robot user are able to alert with SNMP trap. So these alerts can go directly to your ticketing system or your network tool in order to have one single pane of glass of alerting for you to do that. Second thing is that the robot users are sending their statistics to a SQL database. So all of that can be easily accessible for you. You can use that for BI. You can use your own BI tool that you already use in order to provide this kind of dashboard. So at the moment, integration is with alerting, directly SNMP trap ticketing to the network, and with data that are going into a SQL database. And we are working on pure API in order for you to directly access to all of that.
All right, thank you all for your participation today. An evaluation is about to show up in your browser, so please take a moment to provide us with your feedback. It would be greatly appreciated. And thank you again, and have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you to your neighbor's dog. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.